Most of us would agree that our democracy is broken, or at minimum, it's outdated and it doesn't really meet the demands of this time. I think that there are several issues that we have. One of the issues certainly is that our minimal definitions of democracy that are so sort of heavily relying on elections every few years are not sufficient to address the needs of people.
Here's the real trick of it. We often characterize some of our democratic challenges as questions of scarcity. After all, we're told that trust is declining, voter turnout rates is declining, people are becoming, allegedly, more apathetic. So this is a story of democratic decline. But I think we get it wrong. I think we're actually frustrated by our inability to tap into the incredible capacity of the public to play a much more constructive and positive role.
Society has evolved and citizens want to have more of a say. And so in the last decades, this has become an increasing demand of citizens, and our institutions weren't built for that. So it is more that our institutions need to adapt to a new form of democracy where citizens are more engaged. And this also means that taking citizens into policy has to become more structured, taken more serious, requiring more resources and more knowledge.
So a citizens' assembly brings together a diverse group of citizens selected by democratic lottery to learn, deliberate and come to recommendations. So I would say it's a diverse group of people and they spend a lot of time together deliberating and figuring out what to do.
Deliberative methods differ when you compare it to other participatory democracy methodologies in the way that first of all, the decision part. I think many of us have been in situations where we're running some kind of citizen participation, and when we then show up in the room and it's always the same people there, it's either the very frustrated, sometimes angry people, or it's the very enthusiastic ones. And there's nothing wrong with those two groups, but it's just not mirroring the broader population. So if you really want to have a conversation which is representing a broader public, then we needed to look for different ways of recruiting citizens into the room.
Citizens' assemblies are a fantastic opportunity to bring together diverse groups of people to learn about an issue, to discuss together, and they highlight things that authorities may not have considered. They're an opportunity for people to discuss trade-offs and really tricky situations and to work together in a really constructive way to come up with ideas, recommendations and solutions that can then be taken forward and implemented.
It's a win-win situation, both for the participants of the Citizen Assembly, but then also for the government, for the parliament member. Because, well, when citizens are participating, when they are proposing solutions, and when after that the representative systems does this work, and that means doing a law, working on a law, working on bills, everyone has been empowered by the other side.
Well, the nature of the issues that have been considered by citizens' assemblies have been so broad and so varied, but they have one thing in common, that they tend to be a very difficult political problem which can't be solved using traditional political methods. So big social issues like marriage equality, women's reproductive health, climate change, these are extraordinarily difficult political issues to deal with, and we seem to have found a way in Ireland of dealing with these by establishing citizens' assemblies to bring citizens to the centre of policy development and decision making.
Citizens' assemblies come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. Some are big national initiatives which run for like 8 weekends and bring people from all over the country together. That's a really expensive enterprise. Other assemblies at a local level will require less resources, but they will require resources because you actually have to select the assembly members in a really rigorous way. You have to ensure that it's a robust process and you have to facilitate the process. So if you want diversity and you want deliberation, you're going to have to put some infrastructure around it.
Administrations are overburdened and they have a lot of things on their table which they need to take care of, and citizens' assemblies are usually just another thing that they need to take care of. included on their list. So one thing is that they're looking for quick fixes. They're looking to do things just to get them done. Now, that is sort of combined with building skills. By making administrations more aware of what they need to do, they get a sense of, okay, this is a real thing. I need to commit a little bit more time to this to make it work properly.
Schools and citizen assemblies are in my eyes, like extremely important in order to do like a handful of different things. But one of them is connecting practitioners, connecting scholars, connecting advocates, connecting politicians, connecting civil servants, kind of the broad society of people that wanna bring citizen assemblies to their own part of the world.
I think that the knowledge that we provide is pretty practical. I mean, that's, I think, part of the usefulness is to help them think through the A to Z of designing and implementing a citizens' assemblies. We can't answer everything, but generally when they come for 2 to 2.5 days, what they learn is sort of from the beginning of how to think about this, what are the public problems, how do you write a remit, how do you do the sortition, the democratic lottery piece, how should you think about the sessions, how do you curate the evidence. So it's really the building blocks, I would say, of the design and the implementation of a citizens' assembly.
This field is still pretty young, but you have a number of organizations really trying to push this work in their countries or in their regions. And so we always partner with those organizations when we go there. We can benefit from their expertise, knowing what is important in their region. They know the organizations there, but it's also a little way for us to give them a little nudge for that important work that they are doing. So I don't think we could do so many schools without them.
We decided that what we need if we want to sort of secure the continuation of deliberation in Finland, we need to have these kind of trainings in order for more and more people to understand the basic idea, what it is, and then again to have sort of the means and abilities also to organize them by themselves. And then we decided that, of course, this autumn school is already tried and tested training, so why should we invent the bicycle again?
So this deliberative wave is gaining strength worldwide, but the Central and Eastern European region is still lagging behind. And the school was a great opportunity for us to bring stakeholders together to exchange ideas and think together. And these people hopefully can be the drivers of change here in the region.
It's citizen assembly schools like those being organized by FIDE that can be such a propellant, can really accelerate this movement. Because here you're bringing together people who've had deep experiences, have faced every challenge from media, from politicians, from public servants, have figured out how we can make these processes succeed, and they're excited to share what they know.
FIDE training can also be a safe space to share difficulties, to share doubts, to share any kind of negative aspect of everyday work. And it's important because many times civil servants working in a citizen assembly, there are not so many in the administration to really know about the process, and so it's important for them also to be able to share that out of their own administration, let's say.
There's two things about the schools which are really important. They're a bit like assemblies, actually, in a funny way. There's the kind of formal speakers who bring their knowledge of cases. And when we get people to come in, we don't just say, talk to us abstractly about recruitment or talk to us about the value or the philosophy of assemblies. We do a bit of that, obviously, but we want them to talk about cases. So people come away from this room hearing about 6 or 7 different cases which has been presented to them by people who are really experienced in this area. But the other thing that's really important is they learn from each other, because each of them, some of them have done projects, some of them are thinking about projects, some of them are just interested in it as an idea, and they really learn from each other. And I think that so when I've said diversity is important in assemblies, diversity is important in our schools as well.
When I walked in this room, I was thinking like, oh my God, it's just such a cool group of people. And it was really interesting to have people from governments, from civil sector organizations, from universities. So it was a really good mix of people, and we also had time to discuss with each other and listen to the different approaches and learn from each other.
It's not only one-way training, it's also the way I experienced it as well. I also learned from the other people there, not only from the experts presenting, but also like from the group work and from discussions over lunch or over dinner, because I feel like everyone had different kind of experiences with citizen assemblies there.
I think also with others, talking to others, I realize we are constantly fighting. It's not a guarantee, like these kind of deliberative processes, especially in the national context. You're talking to politicians, you're talking to the government, and they're kind of skeptical about the whole thing. And so you come here and you know, okay, people are on board.
I think my advice for somebody who thinks they may have an application for a deliberative process down the line would be to learn as much as you can ahead of time. One of the things that I'm finding is some of the advice that people are giving in their sessions, it's too late. For me, we've already made certain decisions. So knowing more up front, I think, will help you to build a better process. So getting that information at the front end is helpful.
I really feel much more courageous now. I feel I can do it now. I mean, when it started, all the notions of the citizens, all the deliberative democracies were so new to me and seemed to be unachievable. It doesn't seem like that anymore. I mean, I can talk about it to the people I'm supposed to work with my future team members in Podgorica, and I think I can be convincing because I feel strengthened right now to be like that and to make a team, create a team which will finally implement this citizens' assembly in Podgorica.
I would say that if you are at least tiny bit of interested what this is about, then sign up because you won't be disappointed.